Another day, another story. Feeling like you want to disappear can be overwhelming and concerning, and it's important to acknowledge these emotions. There are several possible reasons behind this feeling, including emotional overload. When you're dealing with intense stress, sadness, anxiety, or trauma, it can feel like the easiest way to cope is by withdrawing from everything. This might manifest as a desire to disappear. Welcome to Tabo Eminent Channel. Depression. This is a common symptom of depression, where feelings of hopelessness, worthlessness, or emotional numbness make you want to escape or withdraw from life. It can sometimes feel like disappearing would relieve those feelings. Social pressure, feelings of inadequacy, being misunderstood, or struggling to meet expectations can lead to a sense of wanting to hide away from the world. Burnout, physical, emotional, or mental exhaustion, often caused by chronic stress or overwork, can make you feel like you have nothing left to give, leading to a desire to disappear. Trauma or grief. Sometimes unresolved trauma or grief can trigger feelings of wanting to retreat or vanish to avoid dealing with pain. Existential crisis. Feeling lost or uncertain about your purpose in life can result in a deep desire to escape or disappear to avoid facing difficult questions. It's important to talk to someone, whether a trusted friend, family member, or mental health professional, about these feelings. Support can make a huge difference when you're feeling this way. Imagine walking through life like you're carrying a heavy, invisible backpack. At first, the weight is manageable, and you can move forward without much trouble. But over time, little by little, that backpack gets heavier. Every stressful day, every painful memory, every disappointment, and every self-doubt adds another rock to the load. You're still smiling and interacting with people, but inside, you feel drained and exhausted, wondering how long you can keep going without collapsing under the weight. At some point, you start to wish you could just take the backpack off, even if only for a moment. You fantasize about what it would be like to be invisible, free from expectations, judgment, and the constant grind of life. You imagine fading away, like mist, until no one can see or reach you. It's not so much that you want to end everything, you just want relief, a break from feeling like you're stuck in quicksand, sinking deeper no matter how hard you try to move. This desire to disappear can come when you feel like you're never enough at work, never enough for your family, or never enough for yourself. Maybe you've tried to meet everyone else's needs for so long that you no longer recognize your own. Or maybe the pain you're carrying feels too big to share with others, so instead of asking for help, you withdraw. You shrink into yourself, avoiding conversations, canceling plans, and pulling away from the world around you, hoping that maybe, just maybe, if you become small enough, no one will notice you're gone. These moments can be confusing and painful. You may wonder, why am I feeling like this? But the truth is, many people experience moments of feeling like they don't belong or that life is too heavy. This doesn't mean you're weak or broken. The longing to disappear can also come from a place of deep loneliness. You could be surrounded by people, family, friends, co-workers, and yet feel completely isolated. You might think, if I vanish, will anyone even notice? Will anyone care? That loneliness becomes a magnifying glass, making every hurt, failure, or flaw seem enormous, until all you want is to step outside of your own life and exist somewhere far away from it all. Your feelings matter, and while it might feel like disappearing is the easiest option, it's important to remember that these feelings won't last forever. There is help and support available, and with time, those overwhelming feelings can ease. You find yourself in a crowded room, voices blending into a murmur, laughter echoing from corners, conversations swirling around you, but somehow, you feel completely detached. It's like you're watching the world unfold through a glass pane, where you can see everything happening, but you're not really a part of it. You smile when you're supposed to, nod when people talk, but there's a hollow space inside that grows with every passing second. And then it hits you, you wish you could just vanish. It's not about ending things, it's not even about wanting to leave the room. It's more about not being for a while. Just a pause. Just a moment where the constant buzzing of thoughts, the pressure of expectations, and the weight of keeping up appearances could disappear with you. You think, what if I could just dissolve into the background? What if I could just slip away unnoticed? You remember when it wasn't always like this, when being around others didn't feel like wearing a mask so tightly it hurt. Back then, you had laughter, connection, and moments where you genuinely felt part of something. But now, it feels like you're stuck playing a role in a play that no longer makes sense to you, reciting lines you don't believe in, with no way to escape the script. At first, it seemed temporary, just a phase. Maybe it was stress, you told yourself. Or maybe you were just tired. But days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and the feeling grew stronger. The desire to slip away, to disappear into some quiet, peaceful space where you didn't have to perform, became a constant companion. You start to wonder if anyone even notices the real you anymore, the one behind the smiles and polite conversations. You're there, but at the same time, it feels like you're not. Sometimes, when you're alone, you picture it. You imagine yourself walking through a forest, where the trees are tall and ancient, their leaves casting a soft shade. It's quiet, save for the rustling of the wind and the distant calls of birds. And in this imagined space, you can breathe. You can stop pretending, stop smiling for everyone else. You can be invisible, not in the sad sense, but in a way that feels freeing. No expectations, no disappointments, just peace. The world goes on without you, and for the first time in a long while, you feel like you can just be. But then reality crashes back in. The world doesn't stop, and neither can you. There are bills to pay, work to do, people who need you, even if it feels like they only need the version of you that you show them. You go through the motions, each day blending into the next. But at night, when the house is quiet and the only sound is the ticking of the clock, that familiar weight settles over you again. You find yourself wishing, if I could just disappear for a little while, maybe things would get better. Maybe I'd come back and feel different. Sometimes you wonder if this is just the way things are now, if everyone feels like this, but no one talks about it. You scroll through social media, seeing other people's perfect lives, their happiness on display, and you feel the gap between you and them widening. It's as if you're standing at the edge of a cliff, watching everyone else live on solid ground, while you teeter on the brink, trying not to fall. You wonder if anyone else feels like they're on the edge too, or if it's just you. You realize that the feeling of wanting to disappear wasn't really about disappearing at all. It was about wanting to feel seen, understood, and free from the burdens that have been weighing you down. And as hard as it is, you start to believe that disappearing isn't the answer, reaching out is. And in that reaching out, maybe, just maybe, you'll find a way to stay. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel.